Just 4 hours, a jury convicts Ronnie O'Neal of murdering his daughter and girlfriend, and now he is preparing to learn his fate.
And I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Tomorrow is expected to be one of the most emotional days of this trial, as Ronnie O'Neal's son is expected to testify and tell jurors how he watched his father kill his mother.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
And now let you sleep. Do you know who did this to you?
Dad.
Is that Dad? You're shaking your head yes? And what's your dad's first name again?
Ronnie.
Ronnie? Okay. Do you know exactly what he did to you?
He had a knife.
He had a knife?
This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go.
This is a true crime story of a little boy that came against a monster in order to seek honor for his mother and sister who were murdered by this evil monster. The monster was his own father. He is a true hero. Hello, my name is Holly, and this is The Murder She Shed, the place we discuss crime right from my she shed. No subscribe, do subscribe, I don't care. But if you would like to hear different crime cases and not the same cases repeated, then we would love to have you join us in The Murder She Shed. This case is more discussed case than I actually usually research, but it is one of those cases that just grabs your heart. And I just had to make a video of this brave young survivor. March 18, 2018 in Tampa, Florida would be a day that Detective Mike Blair would never forget and would change his life forever. Blair was told upon arriving at the crime scene that an 8-year-old little boy had been medevaced to Tampa General Hospital with life-threatening wounds. The little boy was named after his father, Ronnie O'Neal III. The boy's name is Ronnie O'Neal Jr., and he had been stabbed multiple times in the neck, abdomen, chest, legs, arms. And not only that, but lit on fire and had suffered burns to 30% of his body. The man that hurt him was the man that was supposed to be his protector, his own father. We are going to call the father Ron in this story in order to not get the two confused. Let's start from the beginning. Ron, the father, was born in 1989. Then at the age of 5, he was SA'd by teenage relatives of his dad, but never received any treatment for this trauma he suffered. He struggled through high school, but did graduate. Then he attempted to enter the Marines, but he failed the entrance exam. Ron became involved in the Nation of Islam and a related local group known as Build Your Community, or BYC. The group would visit impoverished neighborhoods in Tampa to mentor youth, train kids in boxing, and pick up trash. Members said their goal was to prevent community violence. So obviously this guy was going against their religion. Just 5 months before the killings, Ronnie suffered a gunshot wound during a drive-by shooting at one of these BYC events. During the surgery, following the fatal accident, Ronnie flatlined 4 times. Neither his friends nor family took Ronnie into their homes while he recovered. Perhaps they thought he was a little wacko. I don't know. Despite warnings, his ex and mother of his children, Kenyatta Barron, took him in. Their previous relationship had produced a little girl who was 9 when Ron moved back in. Her name was Ronnie O'Neal. She was a beautiful little girl. You see a picture. She was diagnosed with autism but could not talk. She learned to communicate through sign language. She also had been born premature and had cerebral palsy and had difficulty walking. Ronnie O'Neal was 8 years old, was also a handsome little boy. Although there had been screaming that was heard coming out of the house in the past, this fight on March 18, 2018 escalated when Kenyatta refused to convert to Islam. Then after midnight on March 19th, a 911 call came in regarding a domestic violence situation. On the call, you can hear Kenyatta pleading for help. And in the background, Ron is saying, Allah Akbar. And as Ron is beating Kenyatta to death, you can hear her saying, I am so sorry, in between death screams. Ron can be heard accusing Kenyatta of trying to kill him. Meanwhile, little Ronnie is standing inside the house, listening to his mother getting beat to death by his own father. There was a second 911 call 8 minutes later in which Ron had called and said, I've just been attacked by some white demons, and then stated her name is Kiki and she tried to kill me and I just killed her. Here is a piece of both of those 911 calls. Viewer discretion is advised, though.
Hey, I just been attacked by some white demons inside Kiki. Kiki, her name is Kiki, and she tried to kill me.
Ron had shot Kenyatta in the torso, and when she wasn't dead, beat her to death with the weapon he had shot her with. And it looks like in the picture that they showed in court of the weapon, I'm trying not to say the word because YouTube doesn't like that certain word. It looks like he beat her so hard that he broke the barrel off. Then he entered the house in order to finish off the rest of his family. His little 8-year-old son still standing in the house, scared and unsure of what he should even do. Can you imagine, even as an adult, you would be scared out of your mind? But a child, an innocent little child, put in those kind of circumstances. I can't even imagine how scared he must have been. During the trial, Ron acted as his own lawyer, and this would lead him to interrogate his 8-year-old son, Ronnie, who was now 11 at the time of the trial. He had survived this fatal day, only to have to confront this madman of a father. I will let 11-year-old Ronnie O'Neal tell the rest of the story along with his emotional support dog of that fatal day that he would never see his mother or sister alive again.
I was still standing by the house phone.
Still standing by the house phone?
Yes.
After your mother ran out of the house and your father chased her, did you go outside at that time?
No.
What happened when your father came back to the house?
He went into the, actually, he went in the garage. Yes, he hit her with an axe in the head, and then in the back, and the back, and then the head. And then I saw her eyes roll, and then there was blood everywhere.
Where was your sister when your father hit her with the axe?
She was in my parents' room.
How did your sister get into your parents' room?
He dragged her, dragged her into my parents' room.
Can you describe kind of how he dragged her? Was it by one arm, by her legs? How did he do that?
Just one arm, taking her to the room.
In your parents' room where you saw him hit her with the axe?
Yes.
And where in the room did he hit her with the axe?
She was sitting right by the door, but you could close it and she would still be in the room. But he hit her back in the axe and then in the head, and then there was blood everywhere. And then he lighted something He lighted something with a tissue and a match.
He lighted something with a tissue and a match?
Yes.
Father ever having a can of gasoline?
Yes, he like spread it everywhere, and then he got the match and then he dropped it on the ground, and then it like all the fire up here. And then he went in the garage. I followed him, and then he put me on the ground. He like had his foot on top. I was laying on my stomach. He had his foot on top of me, and he was holding me down. And he was like lighting a match. He was lighting a match with the tissue, and then he threw it down.
Do you ever remember your father cutting you or stabbing you with anything?
So when he tried to put me on the fire or whatever, he tried to light the match and put me on fire. I quickly ran up and went in the kitchen, and then I backed up. He like opened the drawer and then put on me, and then I don't remember anything from there.
And how did I hurt you?
He stabbed me.
By the time authorities showed up, flames could be seen in the living room. They were able to force the door open and yelled for anyone in the residence to exit. Ronnie staggered out of the burning home. One of his lungs had collapsed. His intestines were exposed, and he had severe burns on his body. When Ronnie was being medevaced, they really believed the little boy would not survive. They were able to arrest Ron, and as they escorted him to the police vehicle, he was still hollering Allah Akbar. Ron Nevia's injuries were so horrific that it traumatized some of the emergency personnel on the scene. A fireman would say as he attempted to put out the fire, he started slipping on something and realized it was blood. He then crawled to the back of the room and located the little girl. He couldn't tell if she was alive or dead, but knew he had to carry her out of the burning house. But once he got her outside and laid her on the ground, he stated she was unrecognizable. He was asked, "What did you do next?" To which the fireman stated, "I hugged my other firefighter and cried, to be honest with you. She had chop and head wounds from the axe to her neck, head, torso, and feet. She had fractures to her cervical vertebrae, tears of her spinal cord. Jaw was broken. Larynx was perforated. She had hemorrhaging and bruising in her brain, as well as full thickness burns to the total body surface." This is when Detective Mike Blair came on the scene and was told about the little 8-year-old that may not make it. And the first thing he thought about was he felt the urge to pray for him. Let me play you a video of this sweet story. Here it is.
For us, he's our family. We were told that there was a child being medevaced to Tampa General, but he was not expected to live. And he kind of held onto my hand, and as I left, and he said, "Could you watch a movie with me?" And I said, "No, I can't. I got to go back to work." And I said, "How about I'll come back and watch a movie with you tonight?" And he said, "Okay." And then he went back to sleep because he was on a lot of painkillers and medication. And so I called my wife, and we were planning to go on a date night that night. And I said, "Hey, instead of doing date night, do you mind if we go watch a movie with this kid?"
I had already known that I would want to take Ronnie home with us starting that night.
When Rachel called me, who was the guardian ad litem, she said, "Hey, this is who I am, blah, blah, blah." And I said, she said, "Do you know anybody?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, we'll take him." And she kind of was like, "Excuse me?" I said, "Just bring him to our house." And she's like, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Well, do you think you should talk to your wife first?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I should probably give her a call."
I go like a different church. I have a different brother and a sister. I have different mom and dad. I have a different house, and it's pretty cool to be with them. She was nice, pushed me on a swing, made me some good wings, made me all type of food, and she was just a good mom. My sister, she couldn't talk, but she still could move her head and say, like, we used to do sign language.
He knows he has a story that has been written for him. He also knows that he doesn't want to be defined by that story. We established kind of a mantra for him that he, to this day, if you were to ask him what's the mantra that you live by as it goes to the family, and it's I am safe, I am loved, and I am part of this family. And he repeats that to himself in moments of stress. I know he repeated it going into testifying. It's something that he lives by. Is he has the things. All our goal was ever to do was to give Ronnie the opportunity to excel in whatever he wanted to let him be completely safe, to make sure that he knew he was loved, and with that, loved and safe go hand in hand, and then that he was part of our family.
They're really nice people, one of the best moms and dads. They take care of me. There's no one else better than them.
This sweet little boy then chose to testify in court, and I can't imagine the courage it took for the man that murdered your mother and sister and tried to murder you to be asking you questions about that horrible, horrible day. This is Ron's opening statements in court, and from this clip, you can see how truly scary he must have been that night. He would have scared me. He would have terrified most people. He just seems out of his mind. And I say crazy.
The evidence is going to show that we are under some of the most vicious, lying, fabricating, fictitious government you ever seen. By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderers.
Ronnie is truly a hero. I can't even imagine most adults could have gone through what he did and then been able to face that monster that did these horrible things to his family and him. This is the kind of superheroes I love to hear about. I am so glad that Ronnie found a family that makes him so happy. Although, as he said, he will never forget his beautiful mother and sister. Ron, after receiving his sentence in court, refused to apologize for what he had done. Ron O'Neal III is facing 3 life sentences plus 90 years. The only thing that came out of good with this case was the survival of this little boy. He has a story to tell in the future that maybe he can touch many people, many victims through his story. Now, don't forget my bloopers at the end of the video if you'd like to watch them. Love y'all, and y'all have a blessed week. Thank you for joining me in the Murder She Said. Thank you for all the support you guys give me. Y'all are wonderful. And I'm sorry if you've heard this case before, but I just really felt like this little boy needed to be recognized because of his bravery. I think he is one of the most amazing little boys I have ever seen. Anyway, guys, I hope y'all have a great, blessed week. And I hope you just stay safe. And I love y'all. And I thank y'all for always supporting me and joining me here in the Murder She Said. Y'all mean a lot for me. From the bottom of my heart. From the bottom of my heart. Y'all mean so much to me. Just to have y'all supporting me, behind me. I know there's plenty other channels you could be watching. Here you are watching little old me, and I appreciate it. Thank you. My German Shepherd Simon likes to taste the four-wheeler, and I was riding it today. And, well, I was like driving down our trail, and out of nowhere, this locust hit me in the face. And my first thought was, dang, that locust attacked me. And I thought, that's not right. I attacked that locust with my big old four-wheeler. He's probably just flying by and just hit me in the face. That poor locust. Then I thought, oh dear God, it took that poor locust 13 to 17 years possibly to hatch. And here I did. I took him out in the first probably few seconds of his life. I was like, I'm the evil one. I thought he attacked me, and then I felt bad for thinking he attacked me when I'm the evil one. You can tell I can never be a serial killer by that fact. But I feel sorry for him. I don't know why I said that. It was a weird story. But I am a weird person. You guys already know that. Alright. I am a Dr. Pepper girl. If they give me a commercial, I will advertise them all day long because I love Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, give me a commercial. Well, I'm almost commercial point. Not quite. I'm getting there. I'm getting there one subscriber at a time. Yeah, I always have high hopes and not enough energy. He failed the interest. Their previous relationship. Don't subscribe. Do subscribe. I don't care. It's a new saying. I don't want to pressure people to subscribe if they can't stand me, you know. Believe it or not, there's people out there that like my voice. I'm happy for those that stick around. Lord knows I am not perfect and I make mistakes. So these other These other crime podcasts are more perfect for you. That's fine with me. I definitely know I'm just that average, everyday girl that comes with you with a lot of crazy. And if you like a lot of crazy and a lot of crime together, you have come to the right channel. Because me and Simon got some full-on crazy up in this place. So join us in Murder She Said if you want all of that. He's going to get on my lap. Oh, you just unplugged me, Bubba. Well, actually, you just unplugged my ear things. All right, get up here if you want. Here if you want. Oh, God, he's talking my whole guy. He's a big boy. I bet he's about 80 pounds now. He's the smallest one I have. He wouldn't hurt a flea, would you, but big boy? He wouldn't hurt a flea. Is it? Oh! Knocking tables over and everything. You're crazy. You're crazy as me. We're crazy as all get out, aren't we? Simon wants to say bye. Bye, everybody. I'm going to have a good day. I've already went four-wheeling.